The next person on the docket is my mother. My mother moved to Florida, I want to say about a year and a half ago now. And every time that I've been there, it has been magical. It's been phenomenally great. And I think it's been phenomenally great, not just because it was a new environment and not because I don't love the time I spend with my mother. And let me preface by saying, anyone that is mentioned within my family in this video, I will love them forever, no matter what. No matter how much they hurt me, no matter how much they don't understand me, no matter how many times they've harassed me or invalidated me, no matter if they ever change or don't change, this is still my family. I love them. I don't want, I really wish that we could have a relationship, but the truth is that we just can't, at least in this time frame of our lives. We're just not aligned, and the energy is not the kind of energy that I want. But going into my mother, I've been to Florida multiple times throughout the last year and a half, and the most recent time I went was around the beginning of August, mid-August, August, September, like around that time. And I was going because I was having complications with my father. We were just arguing a lot, and I think a lot of the arguing was just because I started to speak my truth more and hold more space for myself. And I think that was things that he's never heard about. That's just not their idea of their brother or their son, is like someone who speaks up for themselves or like actually experiences problems, because throughout my life, I've just put on a brave face. I've just put on this armor because I lived a life where there was always chaos around me. People are going to say you should be grateful for what you have. I am grateful. You can pull any other story off real life or on the internet, and we can, each one of us, despite what our situation is, can say it could be worse. So I hold so much gratitude for what my family has done for me, the times they've been there, the love they have shown. But that doesn't mean that I should settle for something less. That doesn't mean I shouldn't listen to what my heart's telling me. If my heart wants more love, if my heart feels hurt, if I feel attacked, I should at least say something and hold enough space for the other person to, hold their end of a conversation. Give them the space to at least explain themselves, or give them the respect of at least bringing to their attention what they're doing. So when it came to my mother, I was living in Florida for about 2.5 months. I tried to commit to moving there because, again, due to reason one, wanting to break away from my hometown. I just wanted to change, and also things were not looking so sweet with me and my dad. So I just wanted like a new place to go. And I ended up going there, and it was fine at the start. Very quickly, it just got sour. My mom would bug me every single day, about getting a job. And there's nothing wrong with that. We had these conversations prior to me even going there. If I'm going to stay under someone's roof, they're allowed to have boundaries in place for them and for their home and what they want out of people that are staying under the roof. Absolutely understand that. And I respect that. But there came a point where I was getting really, really disrespected, and it was just not looking good at all. I brought up some text messages of things that have happened, but to kind of summarize, we were just going back and forth a lot, and I think she was judging me a lot of the time, and, having microaggressions towards me, or yelling, or just finding a way to take her negative energy out on me, or to just display her lack mindset. A lot of people around me throughout my life in the past have always tended to just like continuously complain and vent and be in lack and just hate their lives, because I'm the kind of person that holds space for that. I sit there, I listen to you, I do genuinely care, and I'm always the person that is, being positive with it and trying to help them see the silver lining in things. And I think that's very comforting for people, and I think that's why people tend to have a tendency to kind of let the guard down all the way and, share whatever is on their mind. And I love that. I love having those conversations. I'm not saying that it's like annoying for me to have to be there for people. But what I am saying is that sometimes it can get annoying as you're going through your healing journey, trying to get out of lack mindset on your own and trying to see life from a bigger and higher perspective. And you still have these people that are just so low vibrational all the time. It gets really, really draining, and it starts to pull on your energy. It was starting to stunt my growth and my healing, and it was beginning to hurt me. So, let me pull up these text messages. You know, I was in Florida around the time of the hurricanes, like hurricane, what was the one before Milton? It was Helene, or I don't know what it was, but I was there for that one and Milton. And on October 8th, I randomly got a text from my mom while I was napping. I want you to keep something in mind. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Actually, so on October 4th or 5th, I forgot which day it was, or October 3rd or something, you can again see this particular moment in the How I Escaped My Old Life series. It's particularly in part 4, but again, I'll leave that there. But I was just sitting in my room, and my mother was knocking on the door, and the door was locked, and she kept banging on the door, Jacob, Jacob, and I wasn't responding, and I just was not responding, and she started to cry outside the door. She said, please, please, Jake. Oh God. I think she thought that something was wrong with me, or that something bad would have happened. I understand. And you know, it might have not been the kindest thing for me to sit there and not respond. But I need you to understand that if you watch that video, I was not in a place to want to just talk to my mom and respond as if nothing happened and respond as if I wasn't deeply hurt. And honestly, as she began to react that way on the other side of the door, I honestly just wanted to see if she did care. I know that sounds crazy. And I know that like I was putting her through an emotional moment, but I just wanted to see if she actually really cared. She ended up breaking the door down, and the minute she walked in, I'll never forget it. She walked in and she was like, "Really? You've been okay? You had me break this door, this $500 door. This is gonna be $500 to fix. Thank you, thank you." And she just walked out. And then immediately after, she picked up a phone call for work and was laughing on the phone as if nothing happened. And then she was leaving that weekend to go with her friend to go see a Morgan Wallen concert. And after probably about 30 minutes of me sitting there on the bed, just like this, with that broken door open and me just staring at the wall, she ended up, because the way the house is designed, like you have to walk past my door to like get out the front door, and she just walked past my door. She was leaving for the whole weekend. I was sick, and she left without saying anything, without saying bye. And honestly, I expected her in the moment when she broke down the door to at least rush over to me and, you know, hold me as a mother should and say, "Are you okay? Like, what happened? Why weren't you responding?" I understand even holding space for yourself to be angry. I get it. But where was the love part? Where was the love part? If you are deeply concerned that I hurt myself or that something's wrong, where is the love part in that reaction? It's just all anger. And you just attacked me and walked out. And then you just walked out. You didn't look at me. You didn't say anything. You didn't say bye. God forbid you didn't come back. Or God forbid I actually did end up hurting myself when you left. You didn't care. I don't care how much you say that you cared. You didn't. Your actions spoke louder than your words. So, besides the point, when that happened, I ended up crying the minute I heard the front door close and she was leaving for the weekend. I just started crying to myself, and I ended up saying, like, I wish I got a different response. Like, I deserve better than this. I deserve better than this. That same night, I packed all my bags and I bought myself a plane ticket to go back to LA. I had no intention on communicating with my dad about this because I knew that being back at his house was still not something that I wanted to do. I was planning in that moment to be in my car, without much of a plan, but I just wanted to get out. I hated how I felt. And that night, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I just had like the most explosive, I hope this isn't TMI, but I had like the most explosive diarrhea, and I had like the worst nausea, and I felt so sick to my stomach, and I ended up just going back to bed. I woke up when it was time to like get ready to go to the airport that same morning. My mom was going to be gone, but she was going to be coming back. My flight was for Saturday. I don't remember if that's October 4th or 5th. It doesn't really matter, but I had a flight booked for 12. I was going to leave the house at like 10:30, and I knew my mom was coming back around 12 because that's what she said before we even like had that whole ordeal. And I woke up to get ready, and I just couldn't. I felt so sick to my stomach. Like I could barely move. Come to find out, I had the stomach flu, and it was really, really challenging. She came back, and my bags were just sitting there packed. She didn't check up on me at all. She came home and went straight into her room. She didn't come back into my room to see if I was actually there or not, or to check up on me or say anything. And I eventually, feeling sick as hell, got up, walked into her room out of anger. I was reacting because I was just honestly so blown away that my mother was so incapable of showing care to me in that moment, despite what we went through. I'm just surprised that like your immediate reaction to me not answering the door was that you thought I hurt myself or that something bad happened. And the minute you come to find out I'm okay, there's still no love shown my way. And then you take the whole weekend to cool off and, you know, do whatever. You come back and you're still not checking up on me. I also feel like it's etiquette when you're sharing a roof with someone to just say, hey, I'm home. Or, hey, I'm heading out. Love you. Because the whole point of that etiquette is we don't know if either one of us are going to be coming back. You say your goodbyes, you show your love, and you put the trust into the universe. So I got angry, and I got up and I walked into her room, and I ended up saying, really? Like, I'm sick as fuck, and you're sitting here like in your room not caring. You don't check up on me. You've been gone all weekend. Great mother you are. And I slammed her door and I walked out. And she ended up coming out and saying, I'm sick too. Like, I'm sick too. I don't feel very good. We ended up sitting down on the couch and going back and forth. I kept trying to tell her how I feel. She doesn't care about me, and I don't like how she handled the situation. She kept telling me how she doesn't like how I handled the situation. At the end of the day, it's probably difficult for us both. I'm not saying she's in the wrong for being angry about me not answering the door, but I also am not wrong for feeling hurt for her not showing up the way I needed her to show up as a mother. I still love her. Besides the point, I just walked back into my room. We weren't getting anywhere in our conversation. She ended up pretty much saying while we were on the couch, you know, I think you should just go back to LA. Like, it's probably better for you there. I just want my peace back. You know, I expected things to be peaceful when you came here, and they just haven't been. And you're like, yeah, I said, I expected things to be peaceful too. And I don't want to be arguing like this. I've just been trying to be honest about ways that I've been hurt, or speaking up on my feelings, and I expected them to be handled differently, and they just haven't been, and it's been really disappointing. So I don't want to sit here and argue, and any time that I'm just trying to hold space for myself, it's not to try and get into an argument. It's just to have a civil, adult, familial conversation, you know? Like, we're supposed to be a team. We're supposed to just work things out and talk. Things aren't supposed to be perfect, but we're supposed to be there for one another. Why is it that I'm always there for you, but the minute I need someone to truly be there for me, you don't want to because it's too much to deal with? So I walked into my room, and like probably 20 minutes later, I heard her walk out of her room, and I called her over. I said, Mom, Mom. And she came into my room, and I just started crying, and I was like, can we just get therapy? Because they kept, both my parents throughout my whole healing journey were always invalidating me for the decisions that I've made, for the people I decided to cut off, for the ways in which I was viewing life. It's okay if they don't understand, but they were kind of invalidating. And they would always just say, like, I think you need counseling. I think it would be beneficial for you. Like, I think you need therapy. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think therapy could help everyone. It's just a resource. And no one's perfect, but it felt really hurtful every single time I went directly to the source of who was hurting me. And I was just met with, this is a you problem. You need therapy. And it just wasn't, I just expected something different, I guess. So I ended up just saying, I just want help. Like, I don't want to be suffering anymore. I don't want to be going back and forth with you like this. Like, let's just go get therapy. We ended up crying together. I thought everything was working out just fine. We ended up apologizing. I felt a little bit better. She was sick too with the stomach flu, and we were leaning on each other throughout that time. And, when I got sick, I used to get sick for a really long time. And so, I tend to just stay sick longer than her regardless. I don't even feel like I'll get into that. But, so yeah, we were taking care of each other while we were both sick with the stomach flu, and everything was fine. And, I ended up getting a job while I was in Florida, and I worked 2 shifts. I picked up as many shifts as I could because it's like a freelancing kind of job. Like, you kind of pick the shifts whenever it works for you, whatever you can. I picked up as many shifts as I could, and I just happened to only have 2 shifts that week. And it was like on the latter half of the week. It was like in the weekend. So I had 2 shifts. And then like one of the days on that shifts after I came home, I just like headed straight to bed because I said, like, I'm tired. Like, I just worked a long day. I'm tired. And we're getting ready for the hurricane now. It's October 8th. I'm going to read these text messages to you. And I'll put above here who's saying what so you know who's talking, but I think you'll kind of know. So as we're preparing for this hurricane, I'm still sick and I'm resting in my bed. And I receive a text from my mom on October 8th at 11:37 a.m. while I'm sleeping. I just missed it. And she texts, I need help. I cannot do this alone. I've tried to do everything alone. I feel completely alone. And after like probably 30 minutes, I woke up, I saw the text, I went outside, and I said, what do you mean you feel alone? She's like, I've just been doing everything alone, like getting the house ready. And, and I was like, well, if you need help with something, then say something. And so I'm like, what do you want help with? Like, I'm here to help if you need something. She's like, I don't know. I don't need help with anything else now. Like, we might have to bring this table in later, so I'll let you know. I'm like, okay, well then let me know. But if you don't need help at this minute, I don't know why she lashed out on me. But she ended up texting me a grocery list and said, I need you to go to the grocery store. And so I ended up going to the grocery store while I was sick. Like bedridden sick. Like I had the stomach flu. Like I was in pain. And I ended up going to the grocery store because she complained about it and whatever. And so I took her car, I went to the grocery store. While I was doing the grocery shopping, I saw a text from her, and she ended up texting me while I was at the store, and she said, I spoke with your dad, and we both think Los Angeles is the best place to pursue your dreams. I love you. Please no more door slamming and abuse. And then, in all caps, a few minutes later, I'm ready to kill myself. I don't care anymore, but I'm not living like this, or I will take all my pills and kill myself. Slam one more door, I'll have the police come. Trust me, this is not dumb Los Angeles. They will take you. I'm booking us both a ticket to Los Angeles. I'm killing myself now. Thank you. Now you have no mother. You live with this. My door is locked. I'll be gone by tomorrow. Call your sister. I want you out. I hate you. I don't care if we ever talk again. Grow the fuck up. A few hours later, at 5:55, she texts me and is sending me texts that like her friends and close ones have sent her, saying like praying for you and Jake during the hurricane, whatever. She's like forwarding the text to me, and then she ends up saying, I'm beyond depressed, not that you care. I'm not exactly sure where okay, it's cut off, but she ends up saying, silence is abuse. You don't even love me. I opened my peaceful paradise to you for us to share, and you have hurt me so much it's painful. Please show me love. I'm hurting. Your stuff will be outside. Find your own hotel. You don't give a shit about me. Back at you. Show me you even care. When I saw this, by the way, when I was getting these text messages, because of just the energy in the house and how hateful she was being towards me, I ended up walking out during the hurricane, by the way. Granted, it wasn't raining in this little pocket that we were in, thank God, or else I would have been inside, but it was a hurricane. It was windy. I ended up going outside to just go for a walk and to like literally get space away from her and away from the situation altogether. And she was sending me all of these like spiraling text messages. And I ended up calling my dad because I needed to have someone to talk to. And granted, I did not want to have to call my dad because I set a boundary very early on in place before I even went to Florida, saying that, you know, I just don't want to talk about the other parent to the other parent. And I said this to him because I said growing up in childhood, like, I think it just made me internalize a lot of wounds. It brought a lot of pain to me to have to hear my parents speaking badly about one another, or just sharing the drama that was going on in their life, whether it was about child support, being sued for child support, or, you know, getting a divorce and like all the things, and or just like the ways in which they're talking shit about one another. Like parents do that when they get divorced, newsflash, you know, and people aren't perfect. But when you're in a situation like this as a child, when you're the peacekeeper and you're the, you know, the good child, you just have to keep your mouth shut and people just vent to you whatever the hell is on their mind, regardless of what your age is or regardless of your situation in the matter. And it literally becomes so mentally damaging. So I ended up setting a boundary in place, saying I don't want to talk about the other parent to the other parent ever. But in that moment, I bended my own boundary and I reached out to my father and I said, this is what's going on between me and my mom. I'm genuinely really scared. Like, I hope she doesn't hurt me tonight. She's scaring me with the things that she's saying and with how she's acting, because she's throwing around suitcases and slamming doors and stomping around. I'm not doing that. I've slammed the door a few times and it was after I was blatantly disrespected. I wasn't just doing that. So, I ended up talking to him about it for a while. Again, it was a little bit invalidating on my part. And he was just like, well, we just think that you should get a job. Like, I was sitting here telling you, like, before you even went off, that, like, she was going to get on your ass about wanting a job. And I'm like, Dad, I understand that, but this is not about the job in this very moment. This is about her abusing me. Like, she's saying things that are completely fucked up. She's threatening to kill herself, which she's done, by the way, so much throughout my life, by the way, just saying. She's just being emotionally manipulative, and it's becoming a lot here. I'm not saying that I want to go back home, but I'm just telling you what's going on right now, and I just need you to listen. I just need your advice. I just need your kindness. And he was like, well, just go back in there and just apologize and tell her what she wants to hear and be kind to her, because she is letting you stay under her roof and whatever, and you aren't working and you haven't worked since Ulta and whatever. And while he's right about those things, and I understand how it makes my parents feel, I just felt so unheard in the moment because I didn't think he was quite seeing where I was coming from in the moment. My instinct was going to be to literally just ignore her and keep my distance from her when I go back inside, because I'm not going to go out of my way to show someone love and compassion if they're literally going out of their way to treat me like shit and abuse me. Like, it just doesn't, that's not who I am. But I took his word for it. I just trusted it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to listen to him this one time. I'm going to listen. I walked in there. I walked into her room and I said, can we just talk about this, Mom? I don't know why you're sending me all of these text messages when I'm living under your roof. You could literally just come into my room and talk to me, but I want you to know that I care about you. And she ended up getting up, walking out, going outside to smoke a cigarette. She was just listening. She's like, I'm listening. We weren't talking back and forth, but I kept pretty much just telling her, like, look, I do care about you. I do love you. I'm sorry that you're hurting. I'm sorry that you're depressed. I don't think it's fair to put that all on me, but you know that I'm here for you and I'm hurting too. And I don't want to argue about this anymore. And I just want us to have clear communication. And I'm sorry if there's anything that I said to do or hurt you. And if you need more help down the line, I'll make sure to ask. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take the due diligence to ask if you need help with anything. She's like, thank you. I appreciate that. No, I'm sorry or anything for her part, but she said, I'm okay. Thank you. And things were fine. And from that day forward, I would ask every single day, every few hours, hey, Mom, is there anything that you need help with? Do we need to do anything else for the hurricane? Like, you know, and she was very panicky during this time. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't, you know, get prepared for a hurricane, because it is definitely, like, it could be very devastating. And my heart honestly goes out to anyone that's experienced the worst of a hurricane. But for me, I think there's a difference between preparing and panicking. I never panicked. I was sure that we were just going to be protected and that we were going to be okay. And she was more so taking the wheel on gaining the things necessary to make sure we were okay. God forbid things went south. And I appreciate her for that. But nonetheless, I didn't feed into the panic. I did a little bit at certain points because, again, I was around someone that was low vibrational every single day. And that was also something that I just was sick and tired of. But I ended up asking every single day, is there anything that you need help with, Mom? Because I wanted to avoid an argument in a situation like this forever. Like, I did not want to experience what I had experienced with her in that moment ever again. So I asked every single day, every few hours, what do you need help with? And I would help her, whether it's taking out the trash, whether it's moving in the table, whether it's getting the groceries, whatever. It's funny because she didn't ask for much help, but she felt so entitled to complain about it in such a nasty way, despite if I'm under her roof. So some time goes by and, you know, I'm trying to remember what exactly happened, but so we were fine during the hurricane. Things were fine. And you know, that following day, we ended up getting a new dog. And it was so on a whim. You know, when I was there, she ended up talking about wanting to get a second dog to, you know, be a little friend for Hazel, our dog. And I also want to preface by saying, when she got Hazel, I'm not saying that she wasn't ready to take on the care of owning a dog. Obviously, if you're going out of your way to get a pet, you have to be prepared and have to want a dog at least a little bit to actually get one. So I'm not saying that she didn't just actually want a dog or she didn't want to do something nice for me, but there was definitely an ulterior motive in getting Hazel, just because right before she got Hazel, my sister ended up moving out around that time because she was getting into arguments with my mom. Doesn't it sound familiar? And going to live with her dad. And so she got Hazel to go and make my sister jealous. Now, I obviously can't prove that, but knowing her and knowing the situation and experiencing things in my own way, I just believe that that's true. I believe that there was an ulterior motive. Flash forward to the day after that event in the hurricane. She's talking about, well, we don't even talk about it. When I first got to Florida, she was saying she wants to get a dog, whatever. And I was like, she should. And after the hurricane, we were going to go and, forgot what we were going to go do. We were just going to like get more supplies for the hurricane or something. And we ended up stopping in the plaza and there was like a pet store. And she ended up just like, we ended up just going inside. And we ended up seeing this really adorable dog whose name was Biscotti, who's my baby. And our baby, if even. But I'll get to that. So we saw this dog we really liked, and we thought about it over lunch, and I said to her several times, I said, I think you should get him if you love him. I love him, but I want you to know, please do not be getting this dog to like make up for this fight that we had. Like, do not be doing this for me, because I still don't know if I'm moving here fully. And you know that. Like, I moved there for 2 months to give it kind of a trial run. I packed 2 bags and just tried to commit. And I said, do not get it for me. Get it for you if you're ready, because it is going to be a second responsibility for you. So do it if you feel called to do it. And she was like, yeah, I know. We ended up getting him. He's adorable. And if you want me to be very, very honest, obviously it could be for whatever reason. I am not an animal whisperer or a mind reader, but I feel that Biscotti was way more attached to me and my energy. It's not because I'm a guy and he's a daddy's boy or anything like that. I think it's genuinely because, and animals don't do all that. I think he saw the lightness in my energy. Just as simple as that. I think he just gravitated to me more, and she had a lot more darkness in her energy. And, you know, he was literally my child. And also because my mom was working and I still was working, but not working. Like, I was working a job where you pick your own shifts, and I only ended up getting to work 2 shifts. But we ended up, I ended up being like pretty much the sole provider and caretaker of Biscotti while my mom was working every day. You know, I was the one walking him. I was the one brushing him every single time he got walked, because his coat is, you know, very soft and it gets matted literally with anything. And I was the one spraying him down and giving him baths and brushing his teeth and, you know, playing with him and giving him love. And I put up the cage to cage train him, and he was sleeping in my bed, and he was like kind of becoming my dog. And so I grew a really, really fond attachment onto him, and vice versa. And so he ended up having a vet appointment a few weeks down the line. And my mom was sitting on the couch watching TV as it was about time to go to this vet appointment. And I was in my room, and she was screaming from on the couch. My door was open. She was like, Jake, like, we have to go. Like, we're going to be late. I was like, okay, like, I'm just throwing on some clothes. Like, let me just throw on clothes real quick. And she was like, come on, like, we don't have all day. And it's not like she was waiting by the door, like, ready to go. And Biscotti was ready and everything. Like, she was sitting on the couch watching TV, by the way. And I think it just rubbed me the wrong way that she was yelling at me like that. Like, I just felt it was early in the morning and it was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. You didn't have to yell and scream at me. You could have gotten your ass up, walked to the room, or not. Or if it was me, and I know we're all different, but I would have knocked on the door. I would have opened. I said, hey, like, we have the vet appointment soon. Are you ready to go? Are you ready? Okay, I'll be waiting outside, but just know, like, I don't want to be late. Handle things, like, with some maturity here. Like, you can't just scream and yell at me and talk to me however you want whenever you're emotionally charged. It's not fair. It's not fair. And I don't get to be treated that way. So it kind of irked me. And so for the whole car ride there and for the whole vet appointment, I was just silent. Not that I had a bad energy or anything, but I was just silent. And I was just like, I was just there. I was there for moral support. And truth be told, I was just there for moral support, because during his first vet appointment, when we first got him, my mom was signing the paperwork, signing him up for the vet. And I was like standing next to her, like watching her, you know, fill out this paperwork. And the only part where she vocalized the paperwork out loud, where she was like writing her name, and then where there was like a co-owner, like signer thing right next to it. She was like, co-owner, no. And then she like continued to do the paperwork, and babe, I saw right through that. I'm just saying, I saw right through that. It felt hurtful, but I didn't hold on to that going into this vet appointment. This was strictly just because I knew I was just there for moral support, and she yelled at me. And so like, I'm not about to sit here and be all happy and jolly and give energy into the room when no one's giving me shit back. So on the way back from the vet, everything was fine. She ended up taking a business call. I was directing her how to get home. I said, hey, can we get Starbucks? I was like, I'll pay for it, because she didn't want to pay for my things, which I understand because I wasn't working that much and she probably wanted help. I completely understand that. I ended up writing down an email of a client that she was having, because she couldn't write it on her phone because she like had it up to her ear. Like, I thought that things were fine at that point. I just chose to not talk during the vet appointment. I chose to be in my feelings. You yelled at me, so I have every right to be in my feelings. Besides the point, we're getting out of the vet, and like, I feel that the energy's fine, and like, we're kind of leaning on each other once again. Like, everything's fine. We get home. I go into my room. She goes into her room. She says, I'm going to lay down for a bit. I'm like, okay, same here. I'll just go lay down. And an hour or two goes by, and I receive a text from her while she's in her bedroom. And she says,